Hi, it's Alistair McIntyre to Electric Scotland. I wanted to talk a little bit about Brexit because some new information has come up and I just wanted to share it with you. I mean, we were recently reading about the bullying that we're getting from the EU. I always hated bullies all my life. I will never give in to bullies, ever. I never have. And I've stood up to people who are bullies, and I will continue to do so. And from what I'm seeing, the EU are being like really nasty, horrible bullies when it comes to the UK. And it's got to stop. And if that's the people you want to be with, then obviously you're willing to tolerate bullies. And if you are, you're a horrible person. And I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. But we're being bullied by the EU, and it's just got to stop. And I tell you, Rees-Mogg, who's been getting a lot of press recently, I watched an hour-long interview with him. And it was a university with a lot of students turned up to quiz him and stuff. And I listened to it because I thought to myself, I need to get to know this guy a bit better. And I'll tell you, I was highly impressed with him, I must confess, highly impressed. One of the things he said, which I hadn't really thought about, which he said the thing about Brexit is by leaving, the poorest in our society will actually be better off. And I thought, how's that? And they went on to explain. And of course he was right when he told me what he was doing. For example, the EU put heavy tariffs onto like footwear and clothes and stuff like that, and some foodstuffs. And of course, under our own independence outside the EU, we can just take those tariffs off. And if you look at the VAT element, I mean, VAT is forced on us by the EU, but that means we can now take VAT off aspects of food and other things which we've wanted to do, but we've been unable to do because we're in the EU. And when you add up all these things, it's clear that the poorest in our society will be much better off. I mean, that's just a fact. And if you haven't looked at it, then I would certainly encourage you to listen to that interview with Rees-Mogg. Because, I don't know, it certainly opened my eyes a bit. He explained things a lot better than anyone else has. And I really liked his ideas, so I certainly have a look at that. I've actually got a link, I think it went in the last newsletter, I had a link where you could go watch his interview, so maybe pick up my last newsletter and find that link and watch it. Or even Google it on YouTube, because it was on YouTube. But as I say, when I look at that, and then there was another article just today, Sunday, which was explaining how there's some 17 things that will be better off once we're out of the EU. And again, if you look at those things, again, it's probably the poorest in our society who stand to gain most. So if we can put more money into the poorest in our society, surely that's good. I mean, for all the SNP Labour leanings towards the left, or being left wing, they're always talking about trying to make the poorest a bit better. Well, by leaving, we've made their life a lot better, because disproportionately in percentage terms, the poorest will gain far more than any other sector of our society. So, I mean, think about that. So, if you're against Brexit, you're obviously against the poorest in our society. And I think that's pretty horrible of you, to be honest. And also, where is our ambition? Why are we so willing to talk our country down? If you're talking our country down, I would genuinely call you a traitor. I'm proud of being part of the United Kingdom. And I believe the United Kingdom will do far, far better outside of the EU. And, I mean, the Commonwealth. I'm sure we'll get far better deals under the Commonwealth. And we can help some of these poorer Commonwealth countries to do better. Because unlike Germany, who just care about money and nothing else, you know, I think I've said it several times to you in various videos, that Germany will take the raw coffee beans in from Africa and no tariffs. But if you make a finished product in Africa where you can get more money, then they stick you a big whinging big tariff on you to make it uneconomic for you to try and sell your finished products to the European Union. Now, we can get rid of those tariffs, therefore we can bring in cheaper imports. And of course, some of Africa is going to be like the breadbasket of Europe almost, because their agriculture potential is phenomenal. And we can bring in a lot of products that we currently pay a lot of money to the EU for, that we could buy much cheaper from Africa and help the African economies as well at the same time. And that means in turn, because we've done them a good deal, I'm sure they will retrospect and maybe they'll want you to buy more British goods and services. It's a winner as far as I'm concerned. And as to Donald Trump, I mean, that guy's great. I mean, your prejudices, if you don't like him, you're prejudiced one way or another. You've got to remember, this guy isn't a politician. And that's what all the media people can see. They look at everything in the political light, but they all seem to forget he's a businessman first, foremost, and always. And it's as a businessman that he tweets all this stuff going out. Because when he muddies the waters, that's good for business. I mean, there was a saying not that long ago that no one ever got sacked for buying an IBM computer. That was like intimidation in a way. I know my father, this is many years ago, middle 50s, maybe 60. He advised the board of BP to buy an ICL mainframe for the computer operations in Kuwait Oil Company. And he told me the stories of everything that IBM did to try to wreck that agreement, right up to the last minute. But in the end, the board went with his concept. And frankly, that computer was great. And part of the deal of that was that they would have 2 resident engineers permanently attached to the Kuwait office. I mean, if anything went down, they were on site, immediately could fix the problem and be up very quickly. Whereas with IBM, they had 1 engineer for the whole Middle East. So what happens if he's in the middle of a big problem in Saudi Arabia? They have to wait till he's fixed it before they get around to coming to Kuwait. So clearly ICL gave a much better deal, and a much better computer for that matter. But that's what I mean. I mean, bullies. We've got to start thinking to ourselves, you know, we can do better. And I mean, the UK has got a phenomenal record. I mean, we had the British Empire, and yes, that diminished, and we've now got the Commonwealth, where all the countries are independent. But in actual fact, there's a lot to be praised about the British Empire and how it emerged eventually into the Commonwealth, where we're all equal. I mean, the way we did it, we built huge infrastructure for all of these Commonwealth countries. And we often put in the basic civil service and the basic laws, and so we left them in a good state. What they did after that, of course, was a lot up to them, but nevertheless, I think on the whole we did pretty damn good for the world within the old British Empire and the new Commonwealth. So, you know, and as I say, Donald Trump, he wants to do a great trade deal with the UK, and he's got Scottish roots there. He's a businessman. I'm sure we can do a good deal with the US. And if we then do good deals with the Commonwealth, I mean, India is part of the Commonwealth. India is forecast to be the 2nd largest trading country in the world in some years' time, but they're heading that way. They're now 5th, displaced the UK because we're now 6th, but India's now 5th. And they will be 2nd in the world as they progress, because they've got massive populations, still growing. And some of they're doing very well in aerospace right now. Some of their engineers are exceptionally good, and they're getting good in high tech. I mean, Sir James Dyson here has a factory in India, but he attracts a lot of Indians to his university in England. He can see the future. He's a forward-looking guy, it's just James Dyson. So, you know, I mean, The European Union is a declining world power. It really is. And they've got a declining population as well. That's why Germany wanted those million refugees, because they were pretty well all would be of working age and could contribute to the German economy. And it was a great way to get people in, because otherwise people weren't going there, didn't want to go to Germany. That's why so many German companies actually are building products and factories in the United Kingdom. So, but as I say, to me the new story that I was made aware of through Rees-Mogg's interview was the fact that the poorest in our population look like they'll do much better outside of the EU. And so I think we need to take that into account when we're looking at pluses and minuses. Because I know there's a fierce debate, but don't forget, I mean, it was the largest vote we ever had in our history of the country. And we voted to leave, so let's just leave and get on with it. And stop kowtowing to these bullies. I hate bullies with a passion. And as far as I'm concerned, to punish us for leaving is disgusting. I mean, it's not even lawful. So, you know, have some pride in the country, for Pete's sake. And I mean, in Scotland, where's the pride in Scotland? Do you not think we're capable? Well, we probably are not capable, because we've got a lot of really lazy people in Scotland that can't seem to think for themselves, unfortunately. Scotland's going downhill. There's still parts of Scotland that are really good and innovative. But I mean, it's like the Greens. Now, the Greens, in my view, are traitors to the world. They really are the traitors to the world, because they are upping the price of energy, and it hits the poorest in our community. Obviously, the Greens are pretty wealthy people, or the crackpots, one or the other. But obviously, they don't care about whether electricity is going to cost you twice as much because of their policies. And we don't even make anything for these wind turbines. I mean, it took an Indian guy, what's his name? Subject Gupta, I think his name is. But he looks like he's going to start making the wind turbines for Scotland. So at last, we'll actually get a local Scottish business getting involved in renewables, because up to now, we've had to import all that stuff from other parts of the country. So, you know, I think Brexit's going to be a wonderful thing, but we also need all of us in this country to start talking up and talking us up worldwide, because the world is now our market. We can leave the small-minded EU people behind us and go out in the world with new confidence. We can do it, guys and gals. We can do it, but you've really got to be optimistic and stop all this pessimism and all this doom and gloom. I mean, the world is our oyster, and we did it before, we can do it again. So come on, let's get behind this Brexit thing, and let's show the European Union they can't bully us. And we're actually a better neighbour than they think we are. Okay, thanks for listening. Cheers.